West of Duddon Sands Offshore Site Inductions Part 1 and 2. The following induction is in two categories. Part 1 is viewed for onshore work and Parts 1 and 2 must be viewed for offshore work. Welcome to the West of Duddon Sands onshore facility. Please press the required call button at the front gates. Allow the gates to open fully before driving through. The site operates a maximum 9.5 miles per hour speed limit in the facility. Please also ensure that you reverse park in a designated parking bay and do not cross hatched areas. Always enter through the front entrance by buzzing reception for assistance. Site and warehouse staff must always use the front entrance. Always sign in and out of the visitors book when arriving or departing from site. This is a mandatory requirement, no matter how often you visit site. Permanent staff must update slideboard system when entering or leaving site. Smoking and use of electronic smoking aids is only allowed in designated smoking areas. The designated smoking area on the West of Duddon Sands site is the south side of the main office. Smoking is strictly forbidden in all other areas, including the pontoon and wind turbines. On hearing the fire alarm, please go to fire assembly point located at the east side of the building via the nearest fire escape. All staff and visitors are to proceed to the muster point and should remain at this point until told by the fire warden that it is safe to return to the building. The fire alarm will be tested at 1 p.m. on a Monday afternoon. On discovering a fire, raise the alarm at a break glass call point. Dial 999 for the fire brigade. Attack the fire if safe to do so using the correct fire extinguisher or blanket. A contractor's application to work must be completed prior to site works taking place and returned at the end of the working day. Before any work can commence, risk assessments and method statements must be inspected by the site management team. These must include the area to be worked in, potential barriers to be installed, PPE and contact details. Always inform site of task status or completion. First aid stations are located outside of reception, the first aid room and also in the kitchen area. You will be informed of the site's designated first aiders, but all offshore staff are trained in first aid. Any accidents must be reported to the management team and reported in the accident book. Defibrillators are supplied on site to be used in an emergency. These are located in the reception area, the site vehicle and on the crew transfer vessel. At Dong Energy, we continuously strive to minimise resource consumption and environmental impact. The office has been designed to be energy efficient. We encourage the separation of waste on site. There are oil spill kits located on site and on the pontoon. All oil spills should be immediately cleaned up and reported to site staff. There are areas set aside to allow a natural habitat for reptiles. Please do not enter those areas. Observations are seen as a positive mindset. Hazardous observation forms are located at various points in the building, including the reception area. Simply fill in a form and pass it to a member of the site team. Alternatively, Dong employees can enter the information directly into the Synergy database. All near misses or accidents must be reported to the site manager or supervisor immediately. If visiting the warehouse area, please remain inside the designated walk zone. If you need to enter the caged zone, please ensure you are escorted by the warehouse coordinator, as it is a forklift operation area. A visitor high-vis jacket will be issued by the warehouse supervisor. Please do not remove any items or materials without authorization from the warehouse coordinator. When accessing the pontoon or gangway, a life jacket must be worn at all times. Smoking is strictly forbidden on the gangway and pontoon. Also, always use the vessel steps when accessing or egressing the vessel. Always use a quayside davit for moving objects that may pose a manual handling risk, A banksman must be present during all lifting procedures, and they will prevent people from walking under a slung load or walking into an area of potential danger. Only authorised persons are allowed to enter the Heysham onshore substation. Before entry, the security fence should be inspected for damage or signs of intruders. All damage should be reported to the senior authorised person, and no entry should be made to the substation. On entering the substation, the gate should be closed and locked behind you to keep members of the public out. A supervisor will have coned off a safe area. You must not walk outside of the coned off area. This is part 2, the offshore induction. West of Duddon Sands Windfarm consists of 108 Siemens 3.6 megawatt turbines and an offshore substation. Transfer time to site will take approximately 45 minutes. To be able to work offshore, you must be issued with a NOC card. You will be emailed a personal login for Windfarm Manager, which is the personnel tracking system for all offshore activities. Once you have logged in, you must complete all the safety videos before you can access the program. All personal information and certificates must be entered, and once done, you can request a NOC card to be printed. This can be collected from the offshore coordinators. Please note that it is your responsibility to keep all personal information and certification up to date on Windfarm Manager. The basic certificates needed to access offshore area include a valid medical, a GWO first aid, offshore survival, fire awareness, manual handling, and working at height certificates. You must have your NOC card with you when accessing a vessel. The vessel skipper will note your NOC number and inform the operational controllers. You will not be allowed to sail if you do not have your NOC card. No card, no sail, no excuses. Specialists who are not in possession of the above certificates may be issued with a temporary visitor's pass, but you must be escorted by 2 trained personnel at all times. This will normally be issued as a one-off waiver for persons who are visiting offshore to inspect potential works. Turbine technicians will be notified of sailings by text message and email 1 day in advance. If you do not receive any communications by 1800, please contact the control room. Each morning, the vessel boarding information will be displayed on screens in the changing rooms, and a transfer sheet will be circulated at the morning toolbox talk. The transfer sheet shows the following: general safety information, vessel sail times, team number and personnel in team, turbine to visit and work scope, contact details. Do not visit an area not planned on the transfer sheet. Always contact the supervisor first. A number of different vessels will operate from the west of Duddon Sands Windfarm. Ensure you board the correct vessel. On your first trip with the vessel, the boat skipper will give you a vessel induction. Important safety points to remember are always to wear a life jacket when leaving the accommodation. Never be outside the accommodation on your own, and always keep walkways clear of bags and trip hazards. Before use offshore, always give the immersion suit a full inspection and check for fitting. Wearing of a suit is mandatory when the sea temperature is below 10 Celsius. Zip suit fully to neck when transferring, and ensure sleeves are tightened. There are various suit and shoe sizes available. If your suit does not fit, please see your supervisor. Before each use of the harness, ensure you carry out a full inspection and check the next certification date. Check the harness for size. If you have any difficulties putting on the harness, please ask the supervisor or your escort. Ensure you have a glider, double lanyard and work positioning rope attached to the harness before going offshore. Once the harness is on, ensure you carry out a buddy check. Please ensure your life jacket is in date and fitted with a personal locator beacon. The life jacket will inflate automatically on contact with water or by pulling the inflation cord. Check your hard hat is in date and free from cracks or signs of stress. Wearing of safety glasses is mandatory at all times during work where there is a risk of eye injury. Wearing of gloves is always recommended, especially when climbing. The TP ladder at west of Duddon Sands is a single climb ladder. At low waters, the climb will be more than 9 metres. If required, then the work positioning belt should be used to take a rest as detailed in training. The personal locator beacon uses a built-in GPS receiver to alert your position to search and rescue teams. The personal locator beacon should be activated as per the manufacturer's instructions for the type being used. It is an offence to activate a live beacon unless a genuine emergency situation has occurred. Misuse is liable to prosecution. The vessel skipper will make a decision on whether he deems it safe to transfer. The final decision is down to you. If for any reason you do not feel comfortable or confident, please step back and inform the deckhand. This shows how to transfer from a vessel to the TP. Now we will see how to transfer from the TP to the vessel. The deckhand will count you down the last 5 steps. If you have any questions, please ask the supervisor. It is mandatory to wear hearing protection when first entering the turbine and for 10 minutes after it has shut down. There is a lift inside the turbine, which must only be used by persons who are trained in its use and escape procedures. If you have not had the specific training, you must be escorted by a person who has. Safety harnesses must be worn in the lift in case of escape being required. The turbines at west of Duddon Sands are fitted with a cab-lock wire glider system for persons using the internal ladders. The basement of the turbine contains high-voltage electrical equipment. There is to be no access to this area without the express permission from the senior authorised person from the High Voltage Department and supporting documents issued. Access to the offshore substation will only be permitted under the instruction from the site senior authorised person. This concludes the video induction. Thank you for your attention.